right, we're about ready to go. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the new media show. My name is Todd Cochran, and I want to, of course, welcome you to the show. We're back here in the studio for me an early start. But Rob, good morning. How are you?
Doing terrific, Todd. Great to be back on the new media show.
Yeah,
Doing it, talking about this stuff. Yeah, I like your shirt there. I like your logo. It
yeah.
looks good.
You like my nice bright green shirt?
That's right.
You know,
you're not gonna miss that. That's for sure.
You know what's funny is because I do the shows at two different times. Like right here this morning, it's getting daylight here, and because the back of the room has windows, the light changes in the room. So I'm always having to dink with the light settings, and it also depends on the color shirt you're wearing. Like, this has it reflects really well, so you just have to slide stuff back a little forth. And then when I wear a blue shirt and it's darker, then I got to crank the lumens up. But yeah, that's the fun part about doing video. But you just look like you're just natural. We're gonna have to do something about your lights. In your room.
Actually, I was just trying to play with that a little bit.
Yeah,
so
we're gonna have to get you some LED lights in that room to spruce.
That's a little better, right?
It's a little better, but it's monitor glare, so we just need to brighten your whole room up a little bit.
Yes, yeah. It is. I've got a huge monitor right in front. Actually, I have two screens right in front of me. So
I actually turn my brightness on my monitor down as low as I can go. I don't want the glare from the monitor hitting me in the face, so I turn it. It's just to the point where, it's my wife comes in. She says, "Can you see that?" And I'm like, "Yes, there's a method for the madness, but
but unless I have the light turned up, I can't read it. That's the problem."
Right. Well, everyone, welcome to the show. And most of you are listening anyway, so you could care less what we look like this morning. But Rob, busy week. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I was telling my audience on Thursday for Geek News Central that I've just been get up at 4:30 in the morning, and I face planted at 10 o'clock at night. We've been busy. You've been busy?
Yeah. Oh yeah. There's a lot of stuff going on with the company, and actually we're taking the whole company down to Orlando, down to Podfest. So all 30 of us are going to be at Podfest.
Well, did you get the memo that they're reducing our booth size?
I know. I saw that. Was it 5 by 10? Yeah.
Is it 5 wide? It's 10 wide by 5 deep. Is that what it is?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Yeah. So, you're not going to be able to have your whole team in the booth.
No, that's true. I don't think the whole team wants to be in the booth, so I think we're okay.
So, it irritates me a little. And Chris, if you're listening, we plan for a certain size. And if you oversell and have to shrink us, because that's...
Yeah.
It's not cool.
There's a trade-off.
Yeah. So I'm sure but you think about that. That's not a lot of room, 5 feet.
No, it's not very deep. So the table is gonna take up at least half of that.
Yeah, and if you got any signage or anything else, come on. Yeah. So, and Mackenzie called me and I was like,
yeah.
So I, if the show's growing, you have to stop selling exhibitor spaces, so you don't change the exhibitor spaces. Don't keep selling exhibitor spaces and then make it smaller. So
well,
it is what it is, right? And they changed venues too. I don't know if that hurt them or not.
I don't know. We'll have to see. I got a more detailed map of the layout of the facility, and it looks like we're all kind of in one tight area. So that means that all the conference sessions and everything are going to be like right next to the exhibition. Okay. So I guess that's good. Some of the the booths are actually spilling over into the main hallway. So I thought it was interesting that it's actually coming out of the room.
Did you actually see where you're at? Because we didn't get to pick. Normally, you get to pick.
Well, I got an email. Yeah, I got an email saying, give me your top 3 locations.
Well,
yeah.
I haven't got that.
Oh, you haven't?
No.
Oh, I would think that you guys would have.
Interesting.
So, I got that on.
Is this your guys' second or third year exhibiting there?
We've been there every year, so yeah.
So I might be a little lower on the totem pole. I think we've only exhibited twice. I can't remember what this makes us. The third year or second year? No, this has got to be the third year. I don't think we were there. I don't think we were there the first year. So. Yeah. But it's okay. Well, anyway, we'll see if we get our email.
Well, I'll forward you the map, and you can see what the options are.
Yeah, I'd love to see the map.
Okay.
I'm not going to be there. Just Mackenzie and Mike are going to be there.
Well, is it possible that they got the map and they just didn't tell you?
Well, she got the note about the shrinking of the size of the booth, but that's all we got.
I have it here. It's
and it gets even more interesting. The NAB show, Rob Walsh and I are disgruntled. They moved that too. They moved us, and we're in between like 2 big. We're right next to Nokia, in this little like. It's good.
Yeah,
I'm not happy. Are you guys going to NAB?
Yeah, we've got a booth.
So we're going
to be right there with you guys.
So, okay, they moved us down, and now we're kind of like pigeonholed. Did you see how we're pigeonholed where we're at?
Yeah.
I don't know what they were thinking. Well, I know what they were thinking. Stick them where you can. I'm happy to be. First of all, I'm happy to be South Hall Upper, closer to the front than the nosebleed in the back. So, we haven't paid our dues at NAB. We only exhibited once. So, just like any other trade show, you don't get your pecking order moved up until you've been there a while, right?
Well, the last time that any of us exhibited at NAB, unless you did last year and on your own, was at New Media Expo.
Well, we've exhibited there in the past at NAB itself without.
Oh, you have?
Without New Media Expo. So. So anyway, but we didn't get in the pecking order because of that relationship. We had our own little segregated area that was, I don't know. We'll see how the traffic goes, but what it really means, and I know what we're going to have to do is we're just going to have to get busy and work the email. We're going to have to tell people here is where we are. Come see us. We're not going to get a lot of natural flow traffic by the booth.
No.
Yeah, you're going to have to be very aggressive in getting those folks you want to see to come to see you, or you're going to have to go see them.
Yeah, and I've started trying to work with the content side of that conference now too.
I've heard nothing about that.
I've got some movement into some sessions. Also, the NAB Live video stream that they do on their homepage. I got them considering a panel, with all of us.
Really?
So that would probably be, all of us would go to that main stage in the main hall off of South and Central.
Right.
And then we'll have like maybe a 20-minute version of the live stream to talk about podcasting.
Okay. I don't know if we're still on YouTube or not. I just had my Firefox browser crash, so I'll load that up here in a second and look. But anyway,
and
go ahead.
And also talk to Josh too, who's on the content side, and he's going to be pulling together kind of the content sessions as part of the radio track. He's going to have a separate podcasting parallel track with radio. So we'll be able to get involved in that at some point. I don't know if they're going to have a state of podcasting kind of session. Like the problem is we've done that. All of us have done that I've done that the last 2 years.
Right.
The main kind of podcasting, session at the very beginning of the podcast track, and I was talking to him. We probably need to come up with something different this time. I'm not quite sure what that would be, but some creative thought's going to go into it.
Okay.
So, to try and get those radio folks engaged. I know last year we had, the room that we were in was pretty well full. I think there was probably well over 100 people in there. So it was a good session. So we'll see. I mean, I try and get on at least 3 panel sessions at that conference. So
right.
hopefully it works out that way this year.
Well, I'm sitting here looking at, Rob, I'll be honest with you. I'm about done with Windows. I've had a huge.
I know you've been saying that.
Why? What's going on? I've had huge issues with Windows in the last 2 months. I just don't know. It just everything is not working the way it should. Like right now, my machine is literally locked up. It's in front of me, and because Firefox crashed, and it's I don't get it. CPU's maxed out at 85%, and so it just drives me crazy. And I've been a Windows user for years. And
well, I hear a lot of people saying, they're starting to move back to Windows again after being on Mac.
Yeah, so and I've heard that too.
I'm hearing people doing that, and I know I keep all my machines completely upgraded, and I'm sure you do too.
Yeah, I do.
So I haven't really had big problems. I mean, there's still bugs here and there with things, drivers, and I mean, I have some issues with my setup here sometimes because of the drivers.
Yep.
But I heard there was a discussion last week that popped up that Windows is working on a new version that will eliminate all drivers and all 32 code. So they're working on a modern version that will be modular, which means that the operating system, the core operating system, never really has to be upgraded.
Right.
It's only the layer that's visible to you that gets upgraded. So,
well, it's I came home from travel and rebooted the computer, and the computer was like, "Hey, I lost my boot sector.
Oh, really?
I'm done." And it couldn't recover. It couldn't recover. And I had to reinstall Windows. And I'm like, okay, one more time, and you're out of here. And I've never had, and in 20 years, I've never had that happen.
Yeah.
So it's right now. It's just
could it be a hardware issue? Could it be a hardware problem?
It runs fine, and then all of a sudden the software just gets weird.
Wow.
So, I'm close. I'm close to being.
All Mac all the time.
Yeah,
huh?
I'm that, this close, and it's like right now I can't do anything. It's not responding. I am going to have to power chop the computer. And
wow.
Yeah.
So is it a kind of a desktop type of
Yeah, it's a desktop computer. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, there it goes. Boom. Did it just blue screen on me?
So it's not doing anything mission critical for you, I hope.
No, it was, but I have all this show, all my prep and everything I do here, and yeah, it's done. Well, what is it? What's going on?
It doesn't like you, Todd.
Well, something is truly amiss. And I'll leave the show today and I'll go to the Mac store and I'll buy an iMac. I'm not kidding.
Give it a swift kick in the side.
Swift kick is not the word. Swift kick is not the word. Shotgun shell to it.
Shotgun shell. Okay, boy, we're talking about podcasting today. This is turning into the Saturday Morning Tech Show.
Oh my God, it's done. I'm power chopping it right now. Oh man. Well, we'll see if it comes. We'll see if it comes back.
Yeah. We're changing the name of this episode to the Saturday Morning Tech Show.
Matt, no. Fixed boot didn't work nothing. It was done. It was done. Yeah, so who knows? Yeah. Well, now we'll know in the next 30 seconds whether or not it's going to be a doorstop.
Yeah.
So anyway, So we just get back in the podcasting thing. All of a sudden I'm getting gosh.
Phlegm. I hate phlegm.
Oh, did you hear it? It came back up. So we got an email from one of our longtime listeners.
Yes, we did.
And let's talk about what she was surprised about.
Mm-hmm. Google Assistant.
Or more specifically, exactly
Google
how
Home.
Google Home works.
Yeah.
And how Google is indexing podcasts in Google Home. I didn't know people didn't know this.
I don't think it's widely available on their website. I went to go try and see if there was a resource available on Google's website about this, and they talk about podcasting and how to listen to podcasting on there and what to say and all that kind of stuff, but they don't really talk about how to get your podcast into Google Home.
Yeah, I guess we've known this for about a year, and matter of fact, I think, and don't quote me on this, but I think Angela already coded it into PowerPress so that people that use PowerPress have this information in their header.
Yeah.
But it's,
go ahead. Why don't you share?
It's basically and I don't have it in front of me to give you the exact, but you have to put a header code snippet in that tells Google what your RSS feed is. And it basically then that's what it gets indexed by the regular Google. And then when you are using your Google Home device and you say, okay, keyword, see how I did there? Okay, keyword, play Geek News Central, it will look at the normal Google search results to play your podcast on a Google Home device.
So is there a place on Google's website that's documented?
I don't think so, but this has been
so that's just like a hack.
But it's been something we've known about for a long time on, it's supposed to be it should be on your website anyway, because it's how it adds to Google indexing. So I was going to see if I could load my site and look at everything's rebooting here. Of course yes, I want to restore pages.
So what's so if you put a link to your RSS feed on your website in a certain way, will that suffice?
No, it has to be in, let's see if I can find it. View source here. We're getting technical.
And I'm going to go to your site too.
It's, bada bing, bada boom, bada bing, bada boom. I'm looking for it here. It's some sort of link. Yeah, there's the header. Oh, gosh.
And pretty soon we're going to have to start thinking about podcast movement again.
We are. So let me actually find, okay, so it's, I believe it is a link. Basically it calls out the, because I've got all my RSS feeds on my page. I've got, let's see if this is it. In the actual script part. Crap.
Yeah, I'm looking at your code right now.
Yeah, so and I was going to load the article. There's an article that came out. Actually, it was part of a newsletter from, what's that guy's name that's in Europe?
Mr. Cridland?
Yeah, Cridland. And he wrote about it earlier in the week. Let's see if I can find it. I don't know if that's where she got tipped off. That's what, this is horrible. I'm trying to find this here, and I had this all loaded.
Okay, I see some code in your RSS that is like a link rel alternate type application /RSS plus XML.
Yeah, that might
be. It gives your...
Yeah, that might be it. I'm just...
There's two references. There's the comment feed and the index.
Yeah.
On the RSS feed, looks like.
And for those of you listening, what it is there's a way within, and I'm trying here, and I should be close. Let me find this. Okay, let me get this. Here we go. Here's the link to the article. So what you have to do is, and let me just bring his, it's called link type equals application / RSS plus XML. And it basically, you have to put the title and the...
Oh, okay, that's not it then.
Is
it in the header? Or is it in the header?
It's in the header. It's in the header. And let me see if I can bring this. Did my screen update? Can we see my screen? No, we cannot. So I need to launch this application because my computer crashed. So
we are showing our geekdom today.
Yes, we are. And of course, now that TriCaster's not updating with the screen capture. So we'll have a link in the show notes to this particular information, but it's basically a link type. And that's what it really is it's you have to tell it that it's basically an application link. And this is how it is. You know how that closed bracket is, or basically less than link space type equals quotations application / RSS plus XML end quotation, and then it goes REL equals quotation alternate quotation space, then title equals pod news, and then the link to your actual RSS feed.
Yeah.
And I have all mine listed. I have all my feeds listed in the header. To do it the best way, you would have, if you're doing, let's say you're doing category podcasting and you had, let's say you had 2 feeds on your site, you would have to have some code written to only load this link type on those category pages so that you'd have each one separate. But I just basically have all mine listed. I have all my feeds listed in the header. If you come to geeknewscentral.com, I
can see it here.
You go view source, and scroll down, and you'll see all my different feeds that I have.
Yeah.
And that is how Google is indexing for the Google smart home device. So when you say, okay, keyword, play Geek News Central or play New Media Show, that's where it finds that information.
So does that list show up on the page visibly, or is this a hidden code?
Oh, it's hidden. Yeah, this is in the header, so people never see this.
Okay.
Only the bots see this.
I think I see it here. It's a whole bunch of feeds that you have in one script list.
Yeah.
Well, actually, it's not even coded to actually, to be visible.
Yeah, it's not visible.
To be visible.
No, not visible at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see if I guess we are still live on YouTube. Okay, that's good. All right, I'm back after rebooting.
So, but on your page, you do have a list.
I do.
Of your RSS feeds, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, it's your network podcast page, and there's a link to each of iTunes, and then a link to your XML.
Right.
But that's in a separate column area.
Yeah.
And that's the publicly visible ones, and those are not in the header. So those are in your main body.
Yeah. Yeah.
Code.
And those are in the main body of code. Yeah. So you get it both ways, really. Here is what you've done.
Yeah.
All right. I think maybe my update. Maybe not.
This is a good tip.
Yeah, and I'm just kind of surprised that people really didn't know this. This was kind of, I guess we're also.
Well,
geeks.
is there other benefits to this too? Can other bots utilize this besides just Google Home? Is the question.
That I don't know, Rob. I really don't.
And is there an opportunity for other folks to use this?
Possibly.
If it's widespread, as you start thinking about more of these smart assistants out there.
Let's see here. Okay, so here's the article. And I'll give our credit's due here.
This is an Angelo thing.
Well, yeah, of course, but it's also I'll give Creedland creds here because he posted this,
Did
and
he?
yeah, and I'll be honest, we may have kept quiet about that because we were giving our podcasters a competitive advantage.
Oh,
So
there you go. There you go.
I'm not
Top
saying
secret.
that's what we did, but I don't know. I don't remember having a specific conversation about it.
Yeah.
His site isn't really user friendly. It's not. So basically, here's his article. We're in Pod News. It says how to get your podcast onto Google Home. But Kathy, oh shoot. So let's move on here.
Yeah.
What did you think about Google Assistant then? What do you think about the implementation there?
I don't actually have one, so I really don't have something to say about it. I mean, I've seen one function. The Spreaker team had one when I was back at a team retreat back in Europe about a year ago. So I did get a chance to play with it there, and it seemed to work pretty well.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got an Alexa. I know. Sorry, everybody. I've got one of those small dots, and I'm going to get one probably for all my places, as they say.
I find my Google Home device, and I've got one, and we've got like 4 or 5 Amazon devices. Works. I think the Amazon device works better, to be frank. But I did shell out the $349, and I did order the Apple device on the day.
Oh, you did?
Went on pre-order. Yeah, we'll see. We'll get it, and I'll get it in here and test it, and we'll see if there's any podcasting support whatsoever in it. So, I guess I'm loaded up the page. I'm still showing that on the screen here. But it's real simple to get it to work, at least on the Google device if you've been indexed. And I don't know, if some of you don't have this stuff in your header information and you're still on Google Home, let us know. Have you got your shows on? Are you on? Of course, you don't know, do you, Rob?
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't. I'm just looking at our code also to see if I'm seeing a similar reference.
Let me. Which show? Let's see if it works. Okay, Google, play the Spreaker Live show.
I looked for the speaker, but it either isn't available or can't be played right now.
Okay, Google, play the Spreaker Live show.
Sorry, I'm not sure how to help with that.
Okay, Google, find Spreaker Live.
Sorry, I don't know how to help with that.
Okay,
yet.
What's another show we can try of yours over there?
That's a good one. Let me see.
Let's see if it even knows my show right now.
Yeah, because you're in there as well.
Yeah,
I mean,
and we're
actually this show is in there.
We're jacking everybody up right now. Okay, Google, play New Media Show.
I looked for new media, but it either isn't available or can't be played right now.
Okay, Google, play Geek News Central.
Okay, here's Geek News Central on TuneIn.
Oh, they found it on TuneIn. Okay, Google, stop. Interesting. Okay,
well,
Google,
I thought that
play Geek News.
This show. Oh, sorry.
Okay, Google, stop.
You hear that?
Okay, yeah. So it pulled it from TuneIn that time. Who knows?
Can you ask for TuneIn and do an ask on this show? I mean, 'cause I thought this show was in TuneIn too.
Yeah, let's try. Maybe I didn't add the word podcast. Okay, Google, play the Geek News Central podcast.
Sorry, I'm not sure how to help with that.
Yeah, it's not working well.
Do you have to ask for TuneIn to load?
No.
Like on the Echo devices?
No, you don't. Well, on Echo, you don't have to. It's default. It's the default behavior.
Well, it is. Yeah, it is default. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, and it's not default.
But if you want to like pull up Spreaker, you have to ask to load Spreaker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or play Spreaker or play Spreaker,
Right.
and then the name of the content.
Yeah. Well, this experiment just failed here, and I've got the header information. So, but this is what I tell my audience to do. I tell it to play Geek News Central podcast, and that's maybe
Well, I
just
think I think we're still a long ways away from these devices being really, really easy
Yeah.
to use
Yeah.
and helpful for people to find podcasts. And
Yeah.
I think the potential is there, and I think that's what we're all focused on, is what the opportunity is here. It's just that I'm finding it, it's a little frustrating to use these things.
frustrating. That's just a fail. Absolute
Yeah.
fail. But
Yeah.
that wouldn't happen with the Amazon device. It works 99% of the time. I've done
Yeah.
it. And again, I
Yeah.
don't use the Google Home device very much. So,
Yeah.
and it might be the position of it. Maybe it's not hearing me. I've got all the studio gear turned on, so maybe that's interfering. Who knows?
Plus, this whole thing that you have to ask it a certain way for it to work properly.
Right.
That also needs to change.
Yeah.
It needs to recognize words and understand context. And this is where AI is going to come in. And hopefully these companies are working on that,
Right.
because it's certainly not quite there yet.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
So everything I had pre-prepped for the show, I'm now trying to recover here while trying to talk and sound intelligent at the same time.
That's hard, right? Yes.
Well, speaking intelligence hard half the time anyway. So, Rob, what else is new? What's happening on your side?
Oh, just like I said, just planning for events. I think that's the big thing that I'm really focused on the last couple weeks, is trying to think about 2018 events. Rain summits, getting involved in podcast movement. Podcast movement topic started to bubble up today, or actually this past week. Trying to think about those topics and sessions and things. And I know that the South by Southwest conference is coming up here also. I'm not getting involved in that this year. I mean, I used to be involved in the South by Southwest doing podcast sessions and things like that, but that's kind of gotten taken over by a different group of the podcasting space.
Yeah.
More on the kind of public radio side have kind of come in and taken over that.
And we did get an email from Dan Franks. He heard us talking about the not having any overlap. And, he basically...
On the weekends.
Right. And he basically said the feedback that they've been getting is that people didn't want it incursioning into the weekend. And so that kind of surprised me.
Well, and his numbers are showing it. It appears that we were incorrect in our assumption that regular podcasters aren't booking and coming to his event. I mean, I think we had incorrectly, to some degree, said that we just thought it was the pro podcasters that were showing up, and that the indies were kind of shying away from that event. That his numbers are showing that it's not necessarily the case.
Yeah, let me see if I can find his email. And he sent us the stats. He actually posted this on on the Facebook page too. He said that last year, podcasters not yet started was 10%, podcasters less than a year active 25%, podcasters 1 to 3 years active 30%, podcasters over 3 years active almost 25%. Podcast industry pro was 7.7%, radio pro at 1.5%. So I think the thing that surprised me on those numbers that the podcasters not yet started was actually at 10%.
Yeah, that's true.
That was the number that surprised me. I thought it was lower than that. And, but still, if you have 1,500 people, that's still a couple hundred, So if you have, you would not expect to see every one of those come by your booth. So it makes much bigger sense here that 70, almost 80% of the people were already podcasting. So, for for us, what are you trying to do? Trying to convince them to move from their current host, and that generally doesn't happen. Onesie twosies, So, but it's an event that we're definitely going to always be at. But I would be curious to see then some of these other events, what their percentages are, as when it comes to. I don't know if these end of the events are actually collecting these stats.
I don't think so. I haven't heard, but I know that a lot of the other more regional events tend to be more kind of hobbyists and on the indie side. Like PodCon was a good example of that.
Yeah.
I think PodFest is going to be another one of those conferences that's going to attract a lot of kind of new podcasters or ones that are kind of just getting started, or a certain amount of them that are kind of regionally around that Florida market that will come to it, that are major podcasters. And then obviously the speakers that are coming in for that event are usually fairly veteran in what they're doing and how long they've been podcasting. So I mean, I think that was the worry, and I think there was honest, I think, concern on our part that as that podcast movement show became kind of bigger and change away from having a weekend component to it, that it could potentially make it more difficult, like you said, Todd, for indie podcasters to make it to that event, because taking a whole week off from work is not always easy, because a lot of these podcasters have full-time jobs.
Well, 97% of them, or 98, have full-time jobs, And if you think about it, Rob, we have full-time jobs and we're podcasters. Okay, so, it's not much different, even though my Geek News Central, I don't get, Rob Voice doesn't pay me to do my show. That's on me.
Yeah. Well, it's just like this show. There's
right.
We're not getting any money to do this show, and
right.
that's not our driver either. We don't do this show because we're trying to necessarily make money.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I mean, obviously we do it because we're trying to support our involvement in the industry and be a resource to talk about issues that are bubbling up in the space.
Yeah.
And hopefully people get value out of that.
So that's the question then. I was also going to talk about adding value. The panels last year at Podcast Movement, at least I know mine was standing room only. Our new media, our state of podcasting panel did really well. So the question is, I've got to get my sessions submitted. I haven't decided what I want to talk about yet. And I know you probably don't want to reveal, but anyone that's listening, if you think there's a topic I should cover at New Media Show, let me know. But I've been thinking about it here, because when you do so many events, you're like,
gets a little repetitious.
Yeah, and I don't want to redo the same session.
And that's what we're up against at NAB too. I raised that topic with Josh too. I said, we can all come in and do another state of podcasting session, but I think the truth of the matter is that the radio industry has kind of gotten a little more advanced. They're starting to embrace this medium more, and we need to make the content appropriate to where maybe they're at in this process, and maybe I don't know.
Where they're at in this process is denial.
Well, yeah. Many of them, that is a very true statement.
Maybe that's the title of the session. Are you denial that podcasting is going to take over your business?
Yeah. Well, one announcement that happened this week may be a little bit of a sign of that, right?
Yeah.
The EW Scripps folks decided that they were going to sell off all the radio stations across the country.
They're getting out of radio. I think they're smart.
And EW Scripps is the owner of a couple of important companies in the podcasting space, Midroll and Stitcher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if they're getting rid of their radio stations, so here's the thing, and they don't have a lot. I think they had 26 or 27 was their total number of stations. But if they sell those, Okay, and they get bought up by someone else. But iHeart is at some point probably going to have a fire sale, selling a bunch of radio stations. And
Yeah, who's going to buy them up?
yeah, who's going to buy these radio stations? Do podcasters need to start looking at buying radio stations?
They're going to be a dime a dozen, Todd. We're going to be able to pick them up for nothing.
I'd love to have a radio station in a major market where we could just play podcast content.
That's been done before.
I know, but it's not by a radio dude, not a podcast.
Yeah. Yeah. For those that haven't been around that long, there was a radio station in San Francisco that just played podcasts.
Yeah.
This was in the early days of the podcasting medium.
Well, Sirius and XM had some podcasting channels too. So
yeah. Well, I think who did? I think Rob Walsh didn't he?
I know it's
fill in on it.
Well, Podshow had all those.
Podshow had it.
Yeah. Don and
I thought that
Drew
Rob
and
Walsh did a couple of guesting spots on one of those shows at one point.
Did you hear that Adam Curry got a Marconi Award out of the Netherlands?
No.
Yeah.
Marconi, huh?
Yeah, big deal. Very, very big deal.
Yeah, I've been to the Marconi Museum in it's at Bologna, it's in Italy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he's rewarded for all of his work in the early days that he was heavily involved in the actual radio space before his MTV days. So,
yeah.
He was just over there picking up his award this past week. So, congratulations to him in the morning.
Yeah.
So, so it is interesting seeing what's happening with the radio folks. But I don't know. One person said, "Well, that's a lot of radio people that are going to be looking for jobs." Well, there's been a lot of radio people have been looking for jobs for a long time because most of these stations
because they're selling the station doesn't mean the stations are going out of business or shutting down or
most of them become automated. Most of them have maybe a morning drive jock, maybe if it's a talk related station. Otherwise, it's all programming.
Yeah.
You got one person that's doing traffic. I mean, here in Hawaii, I can switch across 5 or 6 FM stations and hear the same lady do the morning drive report, on traffic. So, there's no originality there.
So the Scripps deal, there's 34 radio stations.
34.
Yeah. And it looks like...
Hey, Rob, why don't you get Scripps to donate one to us in a major market? We'll.
Where is Rob? Where is Rob? I haven't heard from Rob in a while.
We'll make it happen, Rob. And just give us a little, task list player. All we need is a little web interface and someone to manage the transmitter.
Well, I think, Todd, what's going to happen is one of the other larger radio groups will snap these up.
Of course.
There's already talk about a couple of them, poking around on it. So
maybe that's your NEB thing. And, I don't know. It's, when people, you've been to radio events and when the podcasting session starts, half the audience goes out and drinks beer, so they don't stay and listen to the podcast session, I was, I went to this event and I was really jazzed because there was like 300 radio people there. And a guy, walked up to the stage and sat down and there was 4 of us there that were relatively high end. Well, I was probably the lowest end player on the panel.
Yeah.
And, and I turned and looked to the audience and it was like crickets, empty chairs. I'm like, oh, wow, this is awesome. I've come to LA to talk to nobody.
Oh, Todd, is that the Worldwide Radio Summit?
Yeah, that was that one day. Yeah, well, we had some.
I'm
people
on a panel down there at that one this coming year.
Oh, good luck.
I know, exactly.
If you want to keep your audience, you need to you bring 10 iPads or something, and give them away, during the speech, for people that are there. Maybe you'll keep the audience, bribe them with giveaways.
Bribe them.
But you said you're talking about doing rain stuff. The rain folks want us to spend money, and they keep calling me and wanting to write checks, and I don't. Sorry, I'm not doing that. Not to be on a panel.
Yeah. It'll be interesting this next year, how much more engaged the radio industry gets in podcasting. I think it's this coming year is a big inflection point. And like I was even talking to Dan over at Podcast Movement. I think a big opportunity for that conference is the radio industry for Podcast Movement to attract and grow.
Well, you got to get the word to them.
I don't know if people are going to come out. Yeah, that's the question.
Yeah,
I know. I'm going to talk about Podcast Movement at NAB and the Worldwide Radio Summit, all those as well. So I'm going to say you guys need to come out.
Well, maybe we need to have a Podcast Movement flyer on our. Each of us have a Podcast Movement flyer on our tables at NAB.
Yeah. Dan, are you listening?
Yeah.
Or Dan, maybe you'd think about getting a table at the event. I don't know.
Or just come hang out.
It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money.
It is a lot of money. For us, that's a $20,000-$25,000 show. That's not cheap. With hotels, food, booth. The booth is the cheap part.
Yeah. And I mean, Dan, we'd be more than happy to have some materials about Podcast Movement at NAB or Podfest or any of these events. Actually,
I can't speak for Rob Walsh, but we'd be happy to have a flyer on the table that we could give someone.
Yeah.
But it's a NAB is a different animal, and matter of fact, I have to be very careful here, Rob, but I'm working on my marketing message for NAB. It's not the same audience.
I know. Well, it's the same with us too. We're definitely going to be taking a different approach.
Of course.
Here very soon.
Oh. Interesting. So that pre-roll advertising stuff is ready to go, huh?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
It's all about pre-roll. Yeah. And it's all about post-roll too, Todd.
And the mid-roll.
That's what's really driving the.
Yeah, what Rob isn't telling everyone is
forward.
What Rob isn't telling you is they got their marketplace almost ready. That's what he's got. So that genie's already out of the bag, baby. So.
Marketplace?
Yeah, your guys' online marketplace thing you're going to do.
Nah.
Oh, okay, whatever. Watch, folks. Just watch.
We have more tricks up our sleeve.
Oh, really? So
just that.
So what are you guys doing?
I can't say. You have to tune into all of the media outlets next week to find out.
Oh, all the media outlets next week. Did you buy somebody?
No.
Okay. We're checking to see if you made any more acquisitions.
We are creating within, Todd.
All right. Funny. It's true. If you look at what's going on in space, though, we expected last year some dominoes to fall. We expected some companies to get bought and some consolidation. None of that really happened last year too much. You guys did the only major acquisition, I think, right?
Yeah. Well, that's true. That's true.
So
what we're doing kind of, I know we've been teasing a little bit, is that we're adding a layer on top of all of this stuff. So it's in addition, not in replacement.
Oh, okay.
So.
Yeah, that's cool. So we'll see what you have to say next week.
That's cool.
Is my hair am I gonna get some gray hairs?
Well, I would say on the scale of 1 to 10, it's probably a 9.
Wow.
And a change.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Wow. That's amazing.
But those that are current users of our platforms have nothing to worry about.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's even more ominous. Dun dun dun.
Dun dun dun. That's right. So you can't can't fear change. Change in this case is a positive development.
Right.
Yes,
Yeah, I got
for all involved.
and I got to play tech support guy for a couple of days last week. Mike Dell took a couple of days off, and we've just just hired another support guy, but he's not up to speed yet. And it's oh man, I will never, I would never make it as a customer support rep. I really would not.
You get too frustrated with them. I know. My patience has been pushed more in the last 2 to 3 months working with people than ever before.
And everyone I worked with was nice, and one guy had a major problem, and we just, just like, oh, yeah, it's just very hard sometimes to, get people to do the correct steps. I guess.
There's a lot of there's a lot of new people that are getting involved in the medium that have no understanding of the complexity on the distribution side.
Right.
And I think that's the biggest hurdle that I face here more recently. It's not publishing shows
right.
or creating content. That's not where the struggle is. The struggle is people understanding the complexity of the differences in all these platforms. Like if you're talking about Spotify, or you're talking about Google Play, you're talking about iTunes. How do you navigate those pathways, right? And each one of them kind of has their own little twist on how they want to do stuff.
Yep.
And some people get really frustrated by that.
Yeah.
It's like, I have to do that. I can't just push a button and it just happens.
Right.
Yeah.
And why? Yeah, a lot of that. Yeah.
Yeah. And just not understanding it, how it works at all, really.
Yeah.
Especially when you start getting into caching issues, then you really lose people fast.
Yeah, that's true. And in situations like Twitter and Facebook, one thing they've made it easy is to publish content. It's simple. Very, very simple to publish content on Facebook and Twitter.
Yep.
But when you're doing a podcast, it's that extra step of creating audio is, they don't want complexity. They don't care about branding as much. People aren't caring about that as much, and they should for longevity. Because I just know there's certain podcasters that come on, they're going to do it a certain way, and I'm like, this is a 90-day show,
Yeah.
And sure enough, on 90 days, they're done. Because they're not willing to do those extra steps really to make a show that grows.
Yeah, I'm seeing more and more people that are expecting to generate revenue at the very first episode.
Yeah, they want,
and it's not going to happen.
Right. Yeah. And I'm telling people all the time, when you get 20 shows in and you build an audience, come back and let's talk about advertising, or maybe a year in, and people don't want to hear that. But you look at YouTube, February 21st, everyone that was making $5-6 a month off of their YouTube videos, they're no longer.
Well, some of them are, doing celebrity shows. I mean, some of the ones that I'm working with have celebrities in there, and those celebrities have expectations. I remember telling one person this past week that if you want to earn revenue for your client with this show, and he's a celebrity, then you're going to have to do a prepaid deal. And they go, what? Prepay? I go, yeah, you're going to have to upfront money to them. If they expect to be paid in their first few episodes,
right.
You're going to have to do a contract with them to give them money up front.
Of course.
That's the only other way it can be done, because it's not going to happen the other way.
There was a conversation going on in one of the Facebook pages talking about how much to pay talent, voice talent. And they were doing a podcast for a brand. And people were talking, well, you need to pay them $100. I'm like, I'm deleting your email when it says $100 an episode. You know, I think if first of all, if you're doing a podcast for a brand, those are painful because you're dealing with suits, dealing with people that are going to be super critical on content. They're going to listen to every word. It's going to have to be scripted. I mean, doing a brand podcast to do it right is logistically very painful. And I said, if they don't have at least a budget of $1,000 an episode, it's not even worth. If you want to do a project to get your name out there and work for nothing, that's one thing. But if you want to get paid and actually make some money, $1,000 I'm not even going to touch a brand podcast for less than $1,000 an episode, doing it for a company. And that's actually on the low end.
Yeah.
And you got to pay talent. You figure 2-3 hours. That's probably $500 right there. So it's no. And you're going to pay commercial hosting prices too. So, and if it gets popular, you look at Oprah, big bandwidth bill, big, so $1,000 an episode doesn't even cover the bandwidth cost,
Yeah. That's true.
So, I don't know if you're if you're going to do a show and let's say you're going to be the voice, there's time is valuable. It's ticking along here, and I don't work for free.
Yeah. Yeah.
What would you charge, Rob? What would you need to do per episode on doing it for a brand, a big brand?
I think it depends on what the production is.
Well, that's true too.
Yeah. I mean, what kind of content are you producing for this? If you're just getting a couple of, company executives together, or you're getting, to talk about, the services and the platform or whatever that you're doing, it's probably not that expensive. But if you're coming in creating, really original content, drama or some sort of a brand building thing, you're talking multi-$1,000s. I mean, you got to get a studio, you got to get producers, you got to get editors.
Yep.
It's going to be a multi-$1,000 project.
Yeah, and it's like I said, and it's and I might even be too low on a per episode basis, being $1,000 an episode. It's just
it could be done probably for that.
Yeah.
But
are you going to make any money?
Probably, it's probably not going to be a high-end production.
If I'm going to do any project like that, I'm going to have at least a 50% profit margin built into that thing. I'm going to put, per episode, I'm going to put 50% of whatever they pay in my pocket. That's after I pay everybody, so otherwise, why do it?
Yeah.
But
true.
again, all of it depends too. Is if they're already looking for voice talent, that this is going to be a much higher end production. If you're not going to use someone internal in the company, which oftentimes doesn't always work out the best.
Yeah,
you got the communication major or something like that wants to do the podcast. They might make a good host, but maybe they won't.
Yeah, that's true. You just don't know. I mean, there's a lot of gamble that goes into creating any kind of content.
Yeah.
You just don't know unless you have a proven system that works. Like what the Gimlet folks have done. I think they've learned how to produce this stuff in a way that has a good shot at creating audience. That's the big risk of being a content creator and getting VC capital and getting, turning it into a big business, is that it's risky business.
Yeah.
It's not
but
it's not like creating a widget and then selling a widget at a retail store. It's not like that.
But those companies are having pretty good luck. They're leveraging, not being stupid about it. So if you have the right creative team together, I think, like Gimlet and, Panoply and all those folks, they've been doing a pretty good job on original content. So
yeah.
But they've built a team to do that.
Yeah.
You know, with people, that's what they do for, you know, it's what they've done for a job or for a career is create content. For them, it's second nature. For me, I can't even, I wouldn't even consider it.
Yeah.
But that's
Well,
where all the
I mean,
focus
even though
is right now.
you're a content creator. It's just you're trying to do it on a low budget, and you have a format that doesn't require to spend
Right.
a bunch of money.
Right.
And I think that's key too.
Yeah, and it's just like the beginning of this show. We would never get away with what we were talking about at the beginning of this show on a show over there. They make you get to it. You know, there's none of this jibber jabber.
Yeah. But that's what's interesting about the podcasting medium is that there is that diversity because not everybody wants that.
Right.
You know, people want to have there's a certain sector of the community that wants to have that, you know, natural organic conversation, and it's like they're a fly on the wall kind of, you know, an experience. But there's a huge market for highly produced content too.
Yeah.
So
I don't know, it runs the full gamut. Of course, then there was a huge heated conversation about cussing in a podcast, you know, and I've had an explicative once or twice on this show, and, you know, we got some hate mail for it, you know?
Yeah.
And it's, you know, I said one thing. I think I said the S word or something, you know, and we got feedback from it. So
yep.
the, you know, for a show that is dropping F-bombs and stuff all the time, and I told him, I said, you know, you can do what you want to do, but don't expect to ever monetize that show to any extent. And then someone came in and basically said, well, you look at such and such comedian and such person, and, you know, they F-bomb there. And I was like, well, yeah, that person was a celebrity.
Yeah.
You know, not some average Joe in his closet doing a podcast. So,
yeah, and plus they're self-filtering their audience by doing that too.
Right.
They're, you know, people will just tune out. The ones that don't want to hear it, and the ones that are okay with it, those are the only ones you keep.
Yep. That's true.
So, yeah.
All right. So a couple of news items that I saw come up, and actually I'm looking for a couple of more writers for Podcaster News. I actually made that announcement. I think I've had 3 or 4 people respond to it, and we're going to add a couple of writers, but talks about some stuff going on in the space. The Parsec Awards were announced, and the winners and finalists were put up. So I don't know if you're familiar with the Parsec Awards.
Yeah, I've heard of them before.
But their awards were winners and finalists have been announced. And then you heard about Quartz. Quartz announced the 2000 winners of the Casties. So
I haven't seen that.
These are webcast. So
Casties, huh?
yeah, it's called the Casties. But and they did have a bunch of podcast categories. They had tech category, the Butterfly Effect. Never heard of this show. Best sports podcast, the Poscast. Best science podcast, Invisibilia. I know about that one. Best politics, the Global Politico. So there's a few here that I'm familiar with, but a bunch of shows I've never heard of before. So, but the Casties did their win announcement, and then you had let's hear what else has been going on in the news. At least that there's something called the Sarah Award, the Sarah Lawrence College International Audio Fiction Awards, accepting submissions for the 2018 Sarah Awards. Winners will receive some serious cash. And so I'm not familiar with the Sarahs at all, or Sarah Awards. So if any of you are familiar with that, might be something that you do a fiction show, might be something you would consider. All those articles are at podcasternews.com. I was going to load Pod to Pod. I actually had it loaded earlier.
I didn't see them listed in there.
I'm finding the Pod to Pod stuff. There's more stuff in the Slack channel than there is on the website usually. Let's see if I can.
That's it. Yeah. Well, there's more potential sources people are inputting in.
Yep.
That's the key. So where was this this awards thing held? Do you have an idea?
Which one was that?
The Casties.
Have no idea. I've heard of it, but let me Google it here.
Yeah, that's what I've been doing.
The book of knowledge.
Yes, the Casties.
It's at QZ. Is it QZ.com? Oh, and I don't know who runs this.
I don't know either.
They list their winners, but okay.
Yes.
I don't know. I thought it was webcast.
I'm trying a bunch of different URLs to try and find any kind of website.
This isn't the first one. They did this in 2015 as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have no idea. I can't even find the website. So.
Yeah. It's all dead.
Yeah.
Nasty.
Let's going to talk a little bit about. Where's this at? Bada bing, bada boom. And just lots of announcements on shows. I didn't read Nick Quaz's newsletter this week. Did you?
No.
It's horrible, yeah? Or his stuff has become so insignificant that we're not even reading it.
It's so slanted towards, a certain sector of the space that it's not very inclusive of the whole space. That's the issue.
Yeah, I got all excited about an announcement that there was all kinds of Financial Times articles and Bloomberg, and it turns out it was a 2016 article that somehow got regurgitated into the feed, and I'm like,
you have to be careful of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it pops all the time. The Midroll folks put out their forecast for podcast ads and talked a little bit about metrics on how they're pretty happy with the IB and getting everyone on the same page, and the money in the space, and so everyone's saying $250 million. So,
and I heard a number over 500 by 2020. So
good. I hope it goes to $1 billion.
I'm just not sure that there's enough. Like you said, is there enough listeners to hit that kind of number?
There's enough. There's enough content.
Well, that too, but you got to have the listeners.
There's enough content to get there to 500 million. Easy. Yeah.
It's just selling deeper than the top 1%.
Yeah. They got to be willing to dig down deeper. And I did.
I agree with that.
I did get a request for a proposal for a company that is they don't care. They want any show that matches the demographic. I was like, wow, that's a first. Yeah, first in a while.
So is it a major brand or is it really?
No, it's a you would hear this commercial on the radio.
Oh, you would? Okay.
Yeah, and maybe not completely prime time, but they're going to pay primetime CPM, so that's all I care about.
Yeah.
So
Casty Awards. Huh.
But it's, definitely a very tight demo. My age group, maybe 10 years younger, is a target for the product.
Gotcha. These Casty Awards had quite a few categories.
Yeah.
I'm really surprised.
I mean,
Todd, you've got some competition on the podcast award side.
Well, good. Yeah. Good. We've been asked to expand our categories and at Podcast Awards, and I kind of made an internal decision. If someone wants us to expand a category and it's reasonable, they're going to have to sponsor the category to cover us for a couple of years to do it. And so we set a price for that. So we're letting people they want a new category for Podcast Awards, they have to reach out by February 15th. That's when we're going to make the cutoff. But yeah, it's essentially you're going to have to write a check in order for us to expand. Because each category last year was about, if I divide the total cost and everything, was $600-700 a category.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe not that much, maybe $5 in grand total.
So I see this Podmeo or Podmio.
Yeah, they were
claiming to be an all-in-one podcasting platform.
Yeah, I think they were the ones that were spamming half the podcasting space.
Oh, okay.
They basically went and scraped everyone's RSS feeds, got their email addresses, and it was very comical because a certain podcaster we know that's at a very big podcasting company had a back and forth with them, a dozen or so emails before the individual figured out who they were talking to.
Oh, was it? Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
So it was collecting intel. Oh, do you do this? Do you do that? Yeah, that's cool. How about this? What if I come over? What happens? What do you think about this company? Why should I leave this company?
Oh boy.
And the person didn't even know who they were talking to. It's just like, oh my God. You probably should, there's I don't know. Definitely I don't know all I know all the major, like top 5, 6, 7 players, yeah. But if you don't know who those are and you're launching a podcast hosting company, it would probably be advisable when you're going to spam the entire podcasting space to at least have a clue that you could be getting an email from Todd or Rob Walsh or Rob Greenlee or one of the folks over at Podbean or whatever,
Yeah. Yeah, you might know. You might possibly know who your competition is. Yeah. That would be helpful. Yeah. So I see these guys are claiming to have distribution over at Spotify and iHeartRadio too.
Well, that's what they're claiming.
That's interesting.
Yeah, especially when the iHeart folks are not taking anybody on right now. See, something's going on, Rob. My screens just went black. There.
Todd, you've got a rogue Windows machine there. Do you have some advanced AI technology in there, Todd?
Nope. I think a visit to the Mac store is in order.
Oh, okay. How about a new Windows computer?
No.
No.
This is a perfectly good Windows computer. And
it doesn't sound like it.
Yeah, God, it's pissing me off. Snap! Something went wrong when displaying this web page.
Podmeo is the world's #1 podcasting platform. Did you know that?
Really?
That's what they claim on their front page of their website.
That's a pretty bold claim, to be honest with you. I don't even claim to be the #1, and I'm not. Come on. Your number, that's pretty bold. And to be quite frank,
$47 a month.
Oh, okay. They're really priced to compete.
Yeah. Unlimited number of shows.
Oh, that's fine too. That's why it's $47 a month.
Well, it's not very much money for unlimited shows, actually.
Yeah, all it takes is, one of those YouTubers that come over that that moves 500 terabytes of traffic.
Yeah, and we'll see how happy they are with the $47 a month.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, I did get an email. Mackenzie said, "Hey, I got a podcaster that she told me the amount of data they're moving," and I'm like, "Really?" It was this, they were talking a really remarkable number, and I'm like, "Who are they?" And I went and looked at their website, and I said, they've got a decimal or comma in the wrong position. There's no way they're moving that type of traffic. So, then you get the, okay, how many downloads are you doing a month? What's the grand total? And you look at their average show, and you just do the math. It's very easy to figure that out. And I said, yeah, they were off 6 decimal points on their.
Ooh. Ooh.
And I said they can just be on the $12 account. The 6 decimal points is the difference between a $12 a month hosting account and a bank transfer me money every month.
Yeah, I'll say it's a huge difference.
It's a huge difference.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Pod Clipper. I see that in here too. I'm on your podcaster news.
Oh, okay. I'm serious. This thing is.
You're at your tolerance limit.
Yes, I'm at my tolerance limit. I don't know why it's doing what it's doing. It's a fresh install, very clean new install, and it might be the machine.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like to me. That's not my experience with Windows Machine to be that unstable.
Yeah, and it just started this morning. So again, but it rebooted. So right now, Chrome and Firefox won't even load. It's just sitting here going. Maybe the SSD drive's going bad. It's got an SSD in it, so
yeah, never know.
Potentially,
you could have a caching overload situation that's happening in there too.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Well,
it just died.
Just now?
My screens are black. I'm like, what is the deal? Yeah, something is seriously amiss. Well, it's life. Maybe the old Apple team will be happy to see me today.
Yeah.
Anyway, what else? We're almost here at the end anyway, Rob. So
yeah, we're getting there, aren't we?
Yeah.
Is there any kind of comments from the Facebook group or anything like that about things that you guys have seen pop up this week?
I'm looking through and I don't see really anything here that is of note that's going on in the at least in our chat room right now. I don't even know. Are we still live? Yeah, we're still live.
Okay. My heart's still beating, so.
Oh no, we're
okay.
I don't even think we're online. I think something else has happened here.
Really?
Oh my God, I can't tell. What's going on because I've lost mission control here.
Uh-oh.
Yep, machine's rebooting again. All right, let me go to the other computer. Effing believable. Yeah, there's something seriously amiss with this machine. Okay, yeah, we're off YouTube. I don't know if we're off everything or not. I guess it doesn't matter. We're still here with the people that are important.
Yeah, here I'm going to your page too to see if I can see anything going on. Well, I still see a listing in Facebook for live.
Oh, well, maybe that's a good sign that we're still live there.
Let's see if I can get it to come in here.
Yeah, we're still live on Facebook. I mean YouTube. All right, that's the only good thing, I guess. But I don't think we're live on Facebook. And now we're not. We're off Facebook right now.
Oh, okay.
So something happened. Yeah.
All right.
Don't you just love technical difficulties? I think maybe we should just call it quits.
Probably, maybe that would be okay.
Yeah.
Oh no. Well, I see our image.
Yeah.
Oh, no,
but it's not live. It quit at 1 hour and 9 minutes. So.
Okay. Okay, it's an on-demand thing now.
Yeah.
Okay.
But we're still on YouTube. But All right, everyone, we're going to bounce. Thank you for suffering through my technical difficulties. I'm feeling an iMac in my future. So,
Todd, I think we need to have a guest back.
oh yeah,
So
I think so too.
I've been trying to get Rob Walsh to join us for a couple weeks now. So
Okay.
he's had basketball stuff he had to do. So maybe I can ask him again. Maybe he's shooting for next Saturday or something.
Okay, that sounds like a plan. And
Be
then,
good to hear from him. It's been a while.
all right, that'd be awesome. Everyone, thanks for being here. And it's one thing it's for sure about podcasting. You just never know what's going to be thrown at you during a show. And today's not a fun day for me. So anyway, let's we'll get out of here, and then everyone, if you want to reach out to me, Todd at blueberry.com or at Geek News on Twitter.
Rob at Spreaker.com, and actually on Twitter is a great place to get a hold of me too, at Rob Greenlee with 2 E's. So thanks.
And thanks for being with us, and thanks for being patient with our technical difficulties. Everyone take care. We'll see you next time on the New Media Show. Bye-bye.
Bye.